back to my channel. Today we are going to be busting baking myths. I made a video just a little bit ago. We did busting food myths, and there was a cake recipe for a mug cake in there that was just so terrible. I thought, what other baking myths are out there floating around? Because we've got to find them and we've got to bust them. We got to see if these are true or these are lies. If you guys are liking these types of videos, give this video a thumbs up, click subscribe, it's free, and ring the bell to receive notifications every time I post a new video. All right, now without further ado, let's move on to our first baking myth, which is you can use marshmallows instead of frosting by letting them melt on top of cupcakes in the oven. So we are going to try this. I've got a baking sheet right over here. Let's put these little marshmallows on top. Apparently you can do this with a cupcake that is slightly underbaked or right about to finish baking. You don't want a fully finished cupcake. Heat your oven to 350 and we're gonna bake for about 6 to 7 minutes until we see the tops of these turn golden brown. Let's see if it works. All right, they're hot, fresh out the oven. I'm just gonna pat them down like it says to do. I think this is pretty neat. Let's test it. I'm gonna open this, take a little bite. Okay, this is great. I'm gonna say that this myth is absolutely true. I actually think it's a great idea if you make cupcakes and you don't have any icing in your house and you're like, what do I substitute it with? If you have some marshmallows, this is really creative. And if you made a s'mores themed cupcake, oh my gosh, with graham cracker and the chocolate. This is so cute and really fun. This myth is true. Baking myth that adding soda to a box cake mix makes a more moist and more flavorful cake. We're gonna test it. These are the ones that were suggested online. For this flavor combination, we're doing a lemon cake with Sprite. Over here, we're gonna be testing another one. We are doing a chocolate cake with root beer. You're gonna add 12 ounces of soda to one box cake mix. We are not gonna be adding the 1 cup of water or the half a cup of vegetable oil or the 3 eggs. Just the dry ingredients and just the soda. Here we go, just the dry ingredients. We're gonna be adding our Sprite. And we're gonna mix this up, pouring the batter into a greased and lined 9-inch pan. Scoopity, scoopity, scoop. It smells good, it looks like cake batter. This cake is ready. Now I'm gonna get this cake ready and pop them both in the oven. We're gonna bake both of them at 350 for 30 minutes. Both cakes have baked. I gave them plenty of time to cool, and what I'm noticing right away is they have both sunken. The lemon more than the chocolate, but they're both sunken in the middle. They smell amazing. So I'm gonna take a little bite of each of them. It's a little spongy. Taste-wise, the cake is great. It tastes more lemony, and I love that. It even smells delicious. But the texture, when you bite into it, is just too dense and too moist. Now, let's taste the chocolate cake. Oh, the cut is just so sticky. I mean, you can't even really get a good cut here. It's just really goopy. I can't say for certain, but it looks like it's the same thing. It's a very moist chocolate cake. Again, taste is great, love the taste, the texture is terrible. This myth said it would give you increased flavor and moisture, and boy did it. This myth is true. There are great ways out there to spruce up a box cake mix. This is not one of them. Baking myth, you can turn any box cake mix into cookie dough by adding half a cup of oil and 2 eggs. Today, we're gonna test this with multiple box cakes, okay? Not just one, we're doing 2 over here. All you gotta do, ignore the directions on the back. We're not gonna be adding the water. We're not gonna be doing their thing, not the 3 eggs, none of that. So you just use the box cake dry ingredients and add half a cup of oil and 2 full eggs. So the first cookie we're attempting to make is a vanilla cookie, just like, I think like hopefully a sugar cookie. Let's mix this up. All right, scrape down the sides. Okay, there we go. That's starting to look like a cookie dough. It is a bit greasy. Since we have made a vanilla dough, I wanted to add some chocolate chips. This was not a part of it. This is just for fun for me. I'm trying to basically recreate a chocolate chip cookie. We'll see if this works. I'm just gonna fold these in. Whoa, this is sticky. This is a dense dough. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm kind of surprised. I've never done this in my life. Feels like a cookie dough. All right, that's looking good. And then over here on a baking sheet, I've got a little scooper. Since these are really sticky, I didn't know what to expect. I'm just gonna scoop the little cookie doughs like this, because this is a very sticky, dense cookie dough. So I'm gonna bake these in the oven at 350 degrees for about 7 to 10 minutes. And I'm also gonna be making the lemon cookie dough. And for this one, again, we're just adding the half a cup of oil and the 2 eggs. Both the cookie recipes baked. I gave them a little bit of time to cool, and they look amazing. I'm shocked. They did spread a lot. The lemon ones look like a crinkle cookie, you guys, and they're perfectly browned, like lightly browned on the bottom, and then no browning on the top. Now I'm gonna taste it. I'm shocked. These are delicious, you guys. The texture's good, the size is good, these baked perfectly. To make this the most amazing chocolate chip cookie, we need like brown sugar and all these extra things, but I wanna see if we're even in the ballpark over here. So here, we made the vanilla cake mix and added chocolate chip. And look at the back, just golden. Wow. It's more like a vanilla sugar cookie that I've just thrown chocolate into. This myth was true. It's amazing. Now, I haven't tested every box cake in the world, but it worked. For this one, we're gonna be testing 2 baking myths. That's right. The myth is you can add Jell-O to your buttercream icing to flavor it and color it. The other myth is that you can add Kool-Aid to your buttercream icing to color it and flavor it. I love Jell-O and I love Kool-Aid, so I'm hoping that they both work, and this is gonna give me a quick little baking hack that I can use. All right, so let's start over here. Let's do strawberry. Now, the myth online doesn't have any measurements, but this is too much. This is a lot of dry ingredients, so I'm just gonna do a 1/3 cup. I think that that's much more manageable. And I'm just gonna take a little mixer, start on a low speed so it doesn't fly everywhere. Oh, wow, look at that. Okay, we're getting some good color. All right, that's looking good. We've got some bright pink color. It smells good. It smells just like strawberry. So I'm gonna do a little taste here. Oh, I like the strawberry flavor. I hate the texture. It feels like I've just mixed sand into my buttercream icing. I've never had a gritty icing and I don't like it. It's gross. It does not make me want to eat more. This myth is busted. Now let's try Kool-Aid. Now Kool-Aid doesn't have gelatin, so I think we might be off to a better start. These are much smaller sizes and quantities, so I'm just using the whole bag. This flavor is also strawberry, so I got something to compare it to. It looks darker. Oh, as I'm mixing, it's getting lighter. Oh, that's great. Okay. Oh, it smells so good. Now let's test the Kool-Aid one. Oh my gosh. It's amazing. You guys, this is not grainy. There's no weird texture. It's just as smooth as simple buttercream, but so much color and so much flavor. This is amazing. I want to make cupcakes and put every flavor on top, so I'm gonna do that. Now, I went a little crazy. I made the icings in every flavor that I had in the house. So this one was the strawberry one that we had. I made lemon lime, I made blue raspberry, and cherry. Let's try this. It's delicious. There's so much flavor. It's enough to flavor the whole cupcake. You could literally use half a packet. I want to taste the blue one too. Oh my gosh. And if you do use the whole pack and you add it to your buttercream, it's more like fresh, tart. This baking myth is true. It is row approved. Don't use Jell-O, I'm begging you. The texture is terrible. Baking myth, you can bake cookies in a muffin tray and the results are supposed to be fluffier, softer, and your cookies won't spread into each other. The cookie dough that I'm using is the same cookie dough. This is just from the store. It's pre-made chocolate chip cookie dough. And I'm even gonna be using the same measurement. We're gonna be using 1.5 tablespoons for the cookies in the tray and on the sheet. Let's get into this science. My science teacher in high school would be proud. Okay, so we scoop them in there, then with the back of the spoon, press down. There we go. Once I'm done scooping all these cookies, I'm gonna heat my oven to 350 degrees and bake for 15 minutes, and we will compare. Both of our cookies have baked. I gave them plenty of time to cool. These are the cookies that we made in the muffin tin, and then these are just the regular cookies. So let's compare. None of them spread into each other. These ones definitely didn't. They're definitely taller. It was a condensed space, and they couldn't spread outward, so they had to go somewhere. They went up. They have a little dip at the top, and these ones just look like a regular, nice, flat. Ooh, look at those golden brown edges. Now we're gonna compare, is it softer and fluffier? Oh my gosh, this is so good. Classic chocolate chip cookie. This is gonna be hard to beat. Let's try it. I actually prefer just the original traditional cookie. I like the texture and everything a lot more. This myth is busted. Technically, you can make cookies this way, but they're not softer or fluffier. The only benefit to making cookies this way in a muffin tin is that you can fit 12 of them in that muffin tin, and on a baking sheet you can only fit 6 because they do spread. I would say just make 2 batches because it's worth it. These are delicious. The next myth is if you don't have a muffin tin, you can bake your muffins in mason jar lids. Just stick your muffin right in there. We did it, we tested it, it worked. So if you've got a lot of mason jars lying around the house, you can use the little lids as a little muffin tin. The only note is that the muffins don't turn out as big because when they're in these, the muffin is going straight up and down. It's holding it very straight versus a normal muffin tin is tilted, a little bit of a diagonal tilt. And you can see right here the difference. Straight up and down and open. I'm a girl who loves the muffin top. I feel like the muffin top is the best part of the muffin. So this way does work, but you're getting less muffin top. You're also getting a little less muffin because of the angle, like so. This one actually holds a little bit more volume. Science. This recipe was for 12 muffins, and because we used a little less batter, we had extra batter left over. So with this one, you can make a 13th muffin. Just so you know, they're gonna have a smaller muffin top, but it does work. So this myth is true. It would definitely work in a pinch. Baking myth. An easier way to separate egg yolk from egg white is to use a water bottle. Now, I have actually done this, but I don't remember if it worked or not. Let's try it again. What they do is they squeeze some air out, they put it right on top, and then boop, it works. Okay, I don't remember it working that well, but it worked great. This works great. Oh no, it broke. In my little science experiment, I have had a 50% success rate. When it did work, it worked really well. I guess I put a little bit too much pressure, or I just touched it in the wrong way. This can work, but it's not foolproof. I'm the fool, okay? I've had better luck doing the jiggle method. You crack your egg open, you jiggle the yolk back and forth, you let the egg whites drip into your bowl, and you put your little yolk somewhere else. But this can work. Baking myth. It is easier to dip your finger in a little bit of water or use an eggshell to retrieve broken eggshells out of your eggs. So this is 2 myths in one. We're gonna be testing, seeing which one we like more. This is something I do a lot as a baker. I have dropped many eggshells into my batter. Accidents happen, but I've never used this technique before. So I'm dipping my finger in some water and you just go in. All right, I was able to get the shell. Now you use the shell to get it out. Oh, that also worked. It kind of surface tension stuck to the shell itself. Both of these methods work. However, using the eggshell, my finger didn't get dirty, so I kind of like using the actual egg as a tool. Both myths are true, they help, but I don't know which one is easier. I'd say that they're both kind of similar. Baking myth. Spraying a measuring spoon with a little bit of Pam before you measure sticky ingredients like honey makes it come out of the measuring spoon easily. And I can tell you from experience, measuring honey can be really tricky. It is very sticky and goopy. So is molasses. But I've never tried Pam, so we're gonna try one with Pam, one without. First, I'm gonna start measuring without. Got a little bit of honey, measure a tablespoon. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Honey's just so pretty. As you can see, there's a lot of honey still in there, and usually I just use a small spatula. Get in there, get it out. Okay, now we're gonna be using same measurement with a little bit of Pam. Okay, all right, let's fill it up. Start the clock, ready, set, 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's working. One little drop. There's almost no honey left instantly. Look how fast. Okay, this is not a baking myth. It is a truth. If you coat your measuring spoon with an oil before measuring sticky things like honey, they come out a lot easier. Baking myth. Adding mayonnaise to a box cake mix instead of using the oil makes it even better. I don't know about this, but we're gonna find out. Many of you watching may think that this idea seems really weird. Mayonnaise in a cake mix, but Mayonnaise is basically just eggs and oil, which are the ingredients that you add eggs, oil, and water to a box cake mix. Scientifically, this isn't that odd. So in front of me, I made 2 chocolate cakes using the box cake mix, and this one I used regular vegetable oil, which the recipe calls for, and in this recipe I've replaced the oil with a double measurement of mayonnaise. Let's taste them and find out. Can we even taste a difference? I'm really curious to see because I'm not sure if we'd be able to. So first I'm going to try the plain chocolate cake. Let's see here. Okay, now let's try the mayonnaise one. They taste about the same. I don't know that I could pick them out in a lineup, but I will say that the texture is a little bit more moist. So for this food myth, does mayonnaise make the cake better? It does if you'd like a little bit more moisture. I wish they would rewrite this myth and say that adding mayonnaise to a box cake mix creates more moisture. Baking myth. Baking brownies in a slightly different way makes your brownie fudgier. We're putting it to the test. I use the same brownie recipe for each of these. The myth is if you bake your brownies for 15 minutes and then you take them out of the oven for 15 minutes, give them a break, and then put them back in the oven to bake, that they're gonna be fudgier. So we tested it. This one over here was baked regularly, and this one was baked with a 15-minute break and then popped back in the oven. Now, at first glance, both pieces of brownie and in the pan look really similar. They look like they have a fudgy bottom, a flaky crust on the top. Both of them look really, really similar. So I'm not seeing any big physical differences between the two. We're gonna taste them and look for that fudgy texture. Let's see. These already feel pretty fudgy. Okay, so here's the regular one. Oh my gosh, brownies are amazing. Fun fact about brownies, you can substitute the butter for avocado. That's right, mashed avocado, because it has so many delicious fats, just like butter. Now we're gonna test the myth recipe. This one got a 15-minute nap, a 15-minute break in between baking. See if there's a difference here. Oh my gosh, is there a slight difference? This one is actually fudgier. I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that this matters because the texture is a little denser. It does feel fudgier. This is already a fudgy brownie recipe, so I actually prefer the regular bake, but if you love extra fudgy brownies or you want to turn a brownie recipe into a fudgier brownie recipe, I would actually try this trick. I would say that this food myth is true. Baking myth. If you don't have a bundt pan at home, but you want to make a bundt cake, you can take a can filled with uncooked beans or rice and place it in the middle of a regular baking pan and make a bundt cake. So that's what I've done over here. I have a greased pan in front of me and the can is greased as well. And then inside I have a bunch of unbaked beans. I like to use pinto beans, but you can use whatever you have in your kitchen. And then we've got our cake batter over here. I'm gonna pour it in and we're gonna bake this and see if we get a nice fluted center and we can make a homemade bundt cake without a pan. This is a really neat idea. I love when people get creative. This is looking good. Woo! Now I'm gonna pop this in the oven to bake and we'll see if it worked. The cake baked, I gave it plenty of time to cool. I took the can out, came out really easy, and it worked better than expected. I guess this food myth is true. You can make a little DIY bundt cake at home. No bundt pan needed. Baking myth, you can use cookie cutters to make an easy sprinkle design on your cake. I've seen lots of pictures of this, but I've never done it myself. So I've got different numbers here and little shapes. I've got a little heart, so we're gonna start with that one. So you just place it into the cake. Then you take some sprinkles, fill it. I'm gonna lift these all at once, and the trick was not to fill it too high, so I'm doing these pretty shallow. Got the heart, now we're gonna do some numbers. We're gonna do a 9, it's a cool rounded shape, and then I'm gonna do a 5, 95. If this works, I'm gonna be so excited. I'm pressing them down too to make sure they're sticking into the cake, into the icing. Here we go, we're gonna lift them and see what happens. It kind of works, but it takes a little bit of cleanup. It's not as clean as I was hoping. It's really easy to overfill. I was being really careful, trying not to overfill, and I still managed to do it, so it just spilled over on the sides. I'll do a 3 on the side. Let's try to underfill. I used a lot less this time. Let's try this. Here we go, lift. It's still kind of got a little messy. I would say this myth is mostly busted. You might be able to do it with a really thin, fine sanding sugar, like different colored ones. If one lands on top of another and then you lift it, it's gonna shift. I wouldn't personally be using this technique to decorate a friend's birthday cake. Baking myth, you can use dental floss to level your cakes and to cut pastries like cinnamon rolls. Now in both cases, these are two myths. The floss is supposed to be easier than just using a knife or a cake leveler. So we shall see if that's true. One of the steps is to put toothpicks around the area that you want to level, and then take your dental floss. You can put it on the top or the bottom. I like to put it on the bottom so that it doesn't rise too high. Twist in half, and then you're just supposed to pull. Adding the toothpicks, going all the way around, making sure they were kind of in the same spot, took forever. Now I'm just pulling all the way through. Boop. That is a little fun. All right, then we take this up. Oh, it did level the cake, not perfectly. And now I gotta take all these toothpicks out of here so people don't eat them. Look at how rough this cut is. It's just not perfectly even. I'm not impressed by it. My advice, get a $3 cake leveler or a sharp cutting knife. And for me, I've got a cinnamon roll crescent roll. We're gonna use the floss. I'm gonna stick it underneath and cut. Okay, I love this. I think this is really awesome because sometimes when you're cutting cinnamon rolls, it can squish the dough down and deform that beautiful circle. You'll get a flat side, and the reason I like this is it doesn't do that. It's a little trickier to get them all the same size, but with a little practice, it's pretty easy. Look at that! Perfect. Beautiful little rolls and the perfect shape and size. We love them. I love it for cutting cinnamon rolls. I don't like it for leveling cakes. All right, that does it for busting baking myths. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, it's free, and ring the bell to receive notifications every time I post a new video. I have to say that I think my favorite one today was that I learned that you could use box cake mix to make cookies and make cookie dough. I also thought it was cool that you could color and flavor icing with Kool-Aid. There was a lot of flavor, holy guacamole. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was so much fun to make. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any other ideas for any other videos that you'd like to see. And are there any other food myths that I should bust? Let me know. All right, thanks again for watching, you guys. Bye-bye. And if you'd like to watch another video, you can click up here or up here, or up here, or up here, or up here, or up here.